here doing political broadcasting, and I want to welcome you to this forum this evening that's been brought to you by the Ukiah City Council. And do please turn off all your phones. That would be wonderful. The forum here, the City Council has invited you all here for this forum, and I have a pleasure of being able to moderate this because my goal and their goal is that we appreciate informed voters. It's been my goal for all the years I've been doing public broadcasting is to make sure that the voters of Mendocino County are as informed as possible, and we all truly trust that informed voters is what brings us democracy in this county. And that is my favorite. There we go. And that's why I'm here, and that's why the City Council has asked me to come here, is because we want to make sure that we have the most informed and educated voters in Mendocino County. And then we just all sit back and trust the democratic process. So, this evening we're going to be discussing Measure B, and I'd like to have each one of our speakers up here identify themselves, and be assured none of us here are professionals at this. We have no professional debaters up here. I'm not a professional moderator, but I will assure you that I know all of these people, and they are here because they're passionate about this issue, and they also want to make sure that you are informed voters. So that's our goal this evening. So, let's start at this end.
Hi, I'm Ross Liberty. I'm a welder. I'm a business owner, and I am here speaking on behalf of the Yes on B Coalition.
My name is John McCowan. I'm a member of the Ukiah City Council, but tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the Yes on B Coalition, and thank you all for attending.
Hi, my name is Laura Hamburg, and I am the director of the No on Measure-B committee, and I'm also a former personal use family farmer in this county, and I've been here on and off for about 30 years.
My name is Peter Keegan. I'm a medical doctor. I've lived in Ukiah for 25 years.
Okay, just a moment before we get started, I want to make a comment that there are pieces of paper in the back of the room there with questions. Who will be collecting the questions? Okay, if you bring your questions forward from the audience,
or given to me.
Or given to the gentleman there. With your questions, direct them to specific questions about the Measure B that you need more information about, please. We want to get as much information out about this issue and what it really means to the community as possible. Okay, so the format is that we're going to open up with 4 minutes opening statement for each side, yes and no. They can either split that or do it in teams. Each follow-up question, there'll be 2 minutes for each yes and no. And if we have a follow-up rebuttal, I'm going to keep them to 1 minute on each of their rebuttals. Okay? And Mr. Phil Baldwin here, we're putting up a sign to keep everybody in control. Okay? So, let us start with the gentleman on the yes on B and their opening statement. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say a little bit about what Measure B does not do, because you're going to hear a lot of statements about what Measure B does. A lot of these are going to be false. You're going to hear that there's really no crime problem associated with marijuana in Mendocino County. You'll be cited statistics that supposedly prove that. I think you all know better. You will be told that Measure B is an effort to deny medicine to sick people who need it. Again, nothing can be further from the truth. You'll also be told that Measure B is an effort to recriminalize personal use of marijuana by small users. Again, this is completely not true. I think we all know that marijuana cultivation in Mendocino County is completely out of control. We're all aware of the negative impacts caused by commercial growers who care only about making a fast profit and who care nothing about the impacts to their neighborhoods, to our children, to our communities, or to the environment. With the boom in commercial marijuana growing, which has really taken off in the last couple of years, the crime wave has engulfed our communities. Home invasion robberies, trespassing, impacts to schools, and an influx of gangs, attack dogs, and drug dealers into residential neighborhoods has become commonplace. These stories are on the front page of the newspaper virtually every day. Environmental damage from commercial marijuana growing is also well documented and includes spills of diesel fuel and waste oil from generators, dumping of trash, misuse of pesticides and fertilizers, illegal water diversion that has completely dried up streams in some cases, poisoning of wildlife, damage to rural roads, illegal land clearing, strong odors that are sickening nearby residents. What has caused this crisis? Much of the blame lies with Measure-G, which was approved by the voters in the year 2000. Measure-G approved of 25 plants for everyone, a commercial quantity, and told law enforcement that enforcement of all marijuana laws were the lowest priority, lower even than jaywalking. Measure-G, and the way it has been interpreted, has discouraged law enforcement from protecting us against even the most flagrant abuses by commercial growers, and has sent a message to the nation that marijuana cultivation is legal in Mendocino County. This has made us a magnet for get-rich-quick growers who hide behind medical marijuana as a cover for commercial marijuana production. Growers collect caregiver cards, real or phony, and pretend they are growing 25 plants of medical marijuana for each of the so-called patients, and then sell the product on the open market for big profits. Measure-B does two things and two things only. It repeals Measure-G, which created the problem, and it puts us back in line with the state limits for medical marijuana possession. So it protects the rights of medical patients by adopting state law, and it repeals Measure-G. It's a very simple solution to what has become a very widespread problem in our county.
We've been accused of having a right-wing conspiracy, and I got to tell you, nothing can be further from the truth. This is the most eclectic mix of people I've ever seen in this polarized community. This county, like no other, is split left and right on everything. But this group, the Yes on P coalition, has got Judy Pruden, Dick Seltzer, John Mayfield, Mike Sweeney, myself, him. Kerry Brown, Mike Delbar, Dr. Wera, Dr. Marvin Trotter, Ben Thomas, Doug Crane. This thing does not split. Not right. But that's fine.
Your turn.
Hi, thanks a lot for being here. We really appreciate it. Well, we're all here in this room together as a community because we care about the county. And where we are now is that we know that we grow marijuana here in Mendocino County, and we know that we do it well, and we know we've been doing it going into our third decade, and we know it's the #1 cash crop in the county. It's the #1 cash crop in the state. And we know that most of the people, the majority of the people, do it well and correct and responsibly. They're within compliance of our own county guidelines and our neighborly. They don't do environmental degradation. They don't screen up dirt roads. But there are those people that do that. And that's why we're here sharing that common concern. You and I, and you and you and you. And that's something that we want to really acknowledge, is that people who come to the county and grow commercially out that are criminals, they need to go. And we're smart enough as a community to figure out a way to do that properly, and that's why we have law enforcement. And one of the things I want to say is